I'll just give you a quick heads up on them. The first one is the question asked, smart contract are an old concept before cryptocurrency emerges. So many concepts, blockchain included, have rooted before Bitcoin era. Why? The question is, why the hesitation to adopt new financial technology, and why lack of regulatory system? So we will give it some thoughts, and we can both contribute it to the question. It may be a little bit more complex.
You can go ahead. Yeah, you can go ahead.
And my first thought, why lack of regulatory systems? And also, first, I think the phenomenon of Bitcoin, especially with this blockchain concept, is really depending on the development of the overall technology, especially the development of internet and the digital economy, and also especially with the 5G process, because many people consider the blockchain is the second layer or the advanced version, the 2.0 version of the internet. So that's why I think there's not enough cases out there or practical applications out there for any regulators to regulate, because the market is so small and it's regulators see it's insignificant. So they often ignore this kind of a small fragments of the market that won't make any dent on the overall economy at the first place. So that will be my quick answer to this question. And also the hesitation to new technology, I think this is always happened throughout the human history, because nobody wants to be the guinea pig, and everybody wants to see the way out, how things are play out, and then later on jump onto the bandwagon. So that's my quick answer. Feel free to jump in.
Yeah. Well, I cannot but agree with your assumptions. The point is that anything that is brand new and it is coming new, and especially in this case, the concept of a blockchain was modeled to launch a breakthrough currency. And let's not forget that that happened during the financial crisis, and it was not a casualty. That, I mean, it was not by accident that this came up during that period, because during that period there was a total disappointment and mistrust on the whole system, the whole gold supply, gold-based system, the dollar-dominated international market. So it was something that was very, very much focused on that. And the application of blockchain then to other activity, to other modes, to other systems became a bit more clear to everybody at a later stage, when things were already were giving an opportunity to see that there was something beyond the cryptocurrency. There was something that this concept of storing information and casting this information without the possibility of changing them again was something that could have been beneficial. But what I said at the end of my presentation is, let's not forget, this is something that draws back people. We had an experience in testing this on a blockchain system in a let's say it was a unicorn condition in Europe a couple of years ago, and the major drawback was in fact that people were not ready to open up to make transparent information available to everybody. So sometimes the technology could be super duper, could be absolutely fantastic, top notch, but there may be other situations which make it not take off as quickly as initially expected. And let's also not forget that the costs inherent in this application at the beginning were quite high. These costs are slowly coming down. And that's why also I feel quite optimistic about the future and the future opportunities of utilization of blockchains in other areas aside from the cryptocurrencies. I think that I don't want to spend too much time because otherwise we may be running late in our presentation. So I will quickly give the floor then to you, Brian, and
Sure.
we will keep those questions towards the end. And as I said, if we cannot answer all during today's session, we will be addressing one by one, and especially if we have not been able to answer them as we progress in the presentation. So I give the microphone back to you, Brian.
Okay, thank you, Renzo. All right, I will move on to the next section, which is the current development of blockchain in China. China's national policy towards blockchain. China's really committed towards the blockchain technology. Chinese President Xi Jinping gave a speech in October 2019 saying that China needs to seize the opportunity presented by blockchain in what appears to be one of the first instance of a major world leader backing the technology. The Chinese government has emphasized the distinction between cryptocurrency and blockchain. Users are warned not to conflate the two and reminded that the development of blockchain application, not the cryptocurrency, is widely encouraged. The Chinese government recognizes the unique potential of blockchain technology. The government and Chinese corporations have invested heavily in blockchain development. China is quietly building a complete blockchain ecosystem to support and supply the coming techno-economic revolutions of distributed ledger technology. A recent special feature on state-run television stated that blockchain will be the infrastructure for the future global economy. The televised program claimed that the blockchain is 10 times more valuable than internet. The fact that party officials are using the state media to inform the public about blockchain indicates that China expects blockchain to play a major role in the country's future. In April 2020, China's Ministry of Industry and Information Technology announced a new national blockchain committee that brings together experts from government, think tanks, university, and technology companies to help set standards for using the technology across industries. The committee includes several China's tech giants, including Ant Group, Baidu, JD.com, Tencent Holding, and Huawei. Some of these companies have already been looking into blockchain for years. There are different programs implemented or executed in the local and provincial level. So for instance, for Hainan province, released a set of measures to speed up the development of blockchain industry in December 2019. The measures released by China's first blockchain pilot zone in the Hainan Pilot Free Trade Zone, the FTZ, will support the blockchain industry through talent cultivation, technological application, social investment, and other aspects. Based in the Hainan Resort Software Community, called RSC, an Internet Industrial Park, the blockchain pilot zone was launched by the Provincial Department of Industry and Information Technology in October 2018. It is the first official authorized blockchain pilot zone in China. The RSC also launched an action plan called Secure Sharing Compliance Plus. in short for SSC Plus, on the same day, which is aimed to realizing secure and trusted data sharing and digital governance by integrating advanced technology, including blockchain technology and big data. The Ministry of Industry and Information Technology has also issued an implementation plan to support Hainan with the construction of a pilot FTZ, free trade zone, and a free trade port with Chinese characteristics, which covers 17 specific areas, including development of the blockchain industry. In Sichuan province, during the 2020 Chengdu Global Innovation and Entrepreneurship Fair, the secretary of the party group of the Chengdu New Economy Committee published the Chengdu Blockchain Application Scenario Supply Action Plan, in short, the action plan, which state that the city aims to adopt blockchain technology for various use cases. According to the action plan, authorities of Chengdu plans to adopt blockchain for multiple use cases, including urban governance, cross-border trade, smart manufacturing, smart education, smart healthcare, financial service, intellectual property. As part of this initiative, authorities plans to shape around 2 to 3 blockchain cluster creation areas over the next 2 years in order to build Chengdu into a pioneering city for blockchain development. There are public and private blockchain projects going in parallel in China. The Greater Bay Area Trade Finance Blockchain Platform, which was launched in 2018, the platform facilitates receivable financings and information verification for cross-border business, and is now used by commercial banks and SAFE bureaus in 19 provinces and cities across China. Another major project launched by the Chinese government is the blockchain-based cross-border financing platform implemented by SAFE, which is the State Administration of Foreign Exchange, back in March 2019. The People's Bank of China has a blockchain-based digital currency under development called a DCEP. It's called a Digital Currency Electronic Payment. If implemented, Chinese fiat currency would rely on blockchain ledgers for interbank transfers and transactions. Other governmental projects, including smart contract applications, the Hangzhou Internet Court that assists automation of contracts execution and smart adjudication of cases, and an identification platform in Shenzhen that automates identity verification of users of government services, and a logistic platform introduced by the custom of Tianjin province that facilitates cross-border transactions and payments. Also, major corporations are interested in blockchain and investing heavily. Alibaba, China's second largest company, filed 43 international patents for various blockchain technology over the course of 2017, the most of any company in the world. JD.com, China's largest online retailer, is already using blockchain in its supply chain for food product. Blockchain token allowed JD.com to track individual items from production facilities to warehouse customers' doorstep in one integrated system. Tencent, China's largest company and the 5th largest company in the world, recently began blockchain R&D and published a white paper early in 2019 on the implementation of an open trusted database for goods and logistic management to prevent tampering with initial application in prescription drugs. China's National Blockchain Project into the Future, Blockchain Service Network, in short called BSN, in 2020, an ambitious government-backed blockchain infrastructure network launched in China. The blockchain-based service network, the BSN, act as an operating system for blockchain programs, so developers won't have to design a framework from the ground up. Importantly, it is part of the country's goal to set industry standards and build up the underlying infrastructure for blockchain applications worldwide. The brain behind the BSN are the State Information Center, which is affiliate to China's top economic and reform planner, the country's credit card processing giant UnionPay, and telecom carrier China Mobile, and a Beijing-based startup called the Red Date Technology, who created the technical strategy and architected the BSN. BSN, the Blockchain Service Network, is designed to unify the fragmented market. It is a cross-cloud, cross-portal, and cross-framework public network that enable developers to easily and affordably develop, deploy, operate, and maintain permissioned and permissionless blockchain application and nodes. The BSN itself is not a blockchain protocol. Rather, it is a centralized platform that has done the heavy lifting for developers so they can plug in and code, choosing from several enterprises, blockchain protocols, or public chains. The goal is to reduce their operational costs, improve flexibility, and provide better regulatory oversight, according to the white paper. One of the network's advantages for BSN is its low price, which makes it accessible to a wide range of users. It will encourage a vast number of small and medium-sized enterprises and individuals, including students, to use the BSN to invent and innovate, thereby accelerate the rapid development and widespread use of blockchain technology. The second part of the configuration and modification of several enterprises blockchain protocol is to fit the uniform standards. So the top-down approach enabled China to build a large-scale network quickly while avoiding regulatory red tapes. So this will be the conclusion for this section. If there's any questions, I will be like to give some feedback.
Yeah, yes, Brian, I have several questions here. I'm trying to pick some that could be interesting because like we're talking about 5G here. This is a question about the 5G as being an advantage for peer-to-peer communication, but cloud security and infrastructure, don't you think it's a tremendous issue to be solved? So this cloud security and infrastructure, you think that could be something that would be difficult to be solved?
5G. I think this is a little bit more technical. I think in a general sense, the security issues among different nodes, actually it's basically a different layer of securities. The ground layer of security is between the different computers, and then they move up to different systems, and then later on eventually move up to the cloud level. That's the top level of security. I assume within each of those dimensions, we call it, or within each levels, new technology, new protocol will be further developed to implement and to make more advancement in terms of providing securities on each level. And the 5G technology would definitely help and promote to make the peer-to-peer communication much easier and much more faster. That's for sure. And even maybe the 6Gs will be down the line in the future. Who knows? I mean, 5G might be outdated in about a year or two.
Right. Sure. Yeah. Here they're talking about the difference between blockchain and Ripple. Would you?
Yeah, I can pick up a little bit.
Okay,
sure.
Maybe you can.
Yeah, I'll give a little quick description on Ripple. So basically, Ripple is a network that something is like between public and private blockchain. It's permissioned on permissionless blockchain. Ripple is the name of the company and the network behind the cryptocurrency. The cryptocurrency associated with Ripple called XRP. But beyond the cryptocurrency, Ripple is better known as a payment settlement, asset exchange, and remittance systems that works similar to SWIFT, which is a service for international money and security transfer that is used by a network of banks and financial intermediaries. So that is a quick answer for that question. So if there's need to be further discussion, we can probably do it in a later time.
Sure. Well, we have, of course, the references of all the questions that are coming. So I'm sure that we can further digress later on or separately tomorrow or another day. So we will see how we progress on this presentation today. Considering the time that we are making, I think that we're pretty much on time. I may suggest that we take just a 5-minute break for, you can call it a coffee break, could be physiological break. So let's say that we will reconvene at, this would be 3:45 Brussels time, which is 10:45 p.m. for me, and it will be, what, 6:45 for you, Brian?
Yeah, actually, it's 6:40 here.
Okay, no, but we will reconvene. We will reconvene
oh, sure, yeah.
at 6:45. Okay,
definitely.
So at 6:45, we're back here.
All right, we'll do.
Okay.
Okay, I'm back. So I'll move on to the next section,
Yes.
which is, yep.
Okay.
All right, which is the outlook on the future of blockchain. Blockchain is as significant and disruptive as the internet, which has rapidly changed our economy and our lives. It is one popular saying as followed: the internet solved the problem of information transmission. Therefore, it can be called the Internet of Information. On the other hand, a blockchain solved the problems of value exchange, and then it can be called the Internet of Value. So there are some common consensus been made on the total impact of blockchain. But first, a blockchain is a transformative technology that could rapidly change how business and government interact. A blockchain must be open to encourage broad adoption, innovation, and interoperability. A blockchain is ready for business and government use today. So there are 5 trends in the near future that predicted by the IBM blockchain team. First, pragmatic governance model will emerge. So started in 2020, we will expect new governance models that enable large and diverse consortia to approach decision-making, permissioning schemes, and even payment more efficiently. These models will help to standardize information from different sources and capture new and more robust data sets. 68% of CTOs and CIOs even expect to set a scalable governance model for interactions across multiple blockchain networks to be an important feature of the organization's blockchain environment in the next 1 to 3 years. The next is interconnectivity comes one step closer to reality. Through reaching interconnectivity, although reaching interconnectivity at a maximized level might be years away, and the definition of interoperability can take many forms. We find that 83% of organizations today believes assurance of governance and standards that allow interconnectivity and interoperability among permissioned and permissionless blockchain networks to be an important factor to join the industry-wide blockchain network, with more than 1/5 believing it is to be essential. The third is adjacent technology will combine the blockchain to create a next level advantage. So combining adjacent technology, which include artificial intelligence, AI, cloud computing, big data, and IoT, Internet of Things, also digitization. So combining all these technology with blockchain will help us to do things that haven't been done before. More trustworthy data from the blockchain will better inform and strengthen underlying algorithm. The blockchain will help keep the data secure and audit each and every steps in the decision-making process, enabling sharper insights driven by data that network participants trust. Validation tools will begin to combat fraudulent data sources with a need for heightened data protection mechanism. This year, blockchain solutions will use validation tools along with crypto anchors, IoT beacons, and oracles, mechanisms that link digital assets to the physical world by injecting outside data into networks. This will improve trust and remove dependency on human data entry, which is often prone to error and fraud. And last, the central bank will expand into wholesale and retail CBDCs, which is central bank digital currencies, with countries in Asia, the Middle East, and the Caribbean beginning to experiment with CBDC in real times. There's no doubt they will continue to gain momentum in the new years and redefine payments in several ways. For one, CBDC will see continued expansion in wholesale, with some initial foray in retail CBDC as well. Moreover, there will be increased interest in tokenization and digitization of other types of assets and securities, such as central bond debentures for treasury bonds. The pro-blockchain the pro-blockchain less cryptocurrency policy of China will likely to persist in the future. While two areas of the future blockchain development in China are particularly worth following. The first is the China National Digital Currency, DCEP, which is Digital Currency Electronic Payment. DCEP will be built with blockchain and crypto technology. This revolutionary cryptocurrency can become the world's first central bank digital currency, as it is issued by the state bank People's Bank of China, PBOC. The goal and objectives of the currency are to increase the circulation of RMB and its international reach, with eventual hopes that RMB will be a global currency like the US dollar. DCP testing on the general public in cities of Shenzhen and Suzhou. Hong Kong will participate in cross-border DCP testing. And China Construction Bank already launched the DCP wallet. Tencent to be a major partner of DCEP in its distribution and utilization. The further development of BSN, the blockchain service network, was focused on low cost, the further development of BSN was focused on low cost interconnectivity and interoperability. China's new infrastructure national initiative makes blockchain an integral part of the country's digital infrastructure. BSN was launched for the domestic commercial use and globally on April 25th, 2020. If it works as envisioned, companies and software developers will be able to plug in the BSN and build blockchain-based applications as easily as assembling the Lego set. There are two versions of BSNs. One is called the BSN China, and the other is BSN International. BSN is still one network, but the government is divided between the BSN China and the BSN International. The BSN China only utilize permissioned private blockchain network, while BSN International incorporates permissionless public blockchains. BSN will incorporate two public protocols like Ethereum's and EOS for their distinct utility functionality, such as smart contract and the industrial scalability. BSN recently announced that it will support Quorum Enterprise Blockchain, which is a permissioned blockchain developed by JP Morgan to process private banking transactions. BSN has also revealed a plan to integrate the permission version of Cosmos with this crypto called ATOM Atoms into the platform. The Cosmos aims to become the internet of blockchains, which is going to solve the problems of interoperability once and for all. So in conclusion, Blockchain-enabled business models will present a seismic shift to how business is conducted in the future. Its impact on commerce will be game-changing, especially given the increasingly digital global economy and the decentralization of business model and stakeholders enabled by blockchain. Today, the boundary of commerce are once again being pushed, and the role of internet as intermediaries is changing given blockchain technology. For European SMEs entering China, given the growing importance of blockchain in China, maybe you should consider some of the following factors. First is try to digitize your business process or your product in every possible way. And the second is to try to create a supply chain ledgers by choosing the proper blockchain platform with smart contract capability for your business and product. And last, depending on the nature of the business and your business model, try to authenticate your business by tokenizing your product and then present them in a digital package and promote them in China. So this will conclude my section, and I'm welcome for if there's any questions.
Brian, here I have a tricky one for you, because I mean, you are Chinese, you're born in Beijing, so this one, I think that you are the best one to be able to answer this. The question is, how does the Chinese government reconcile the exclusiveness of permissioned and private blockchains with its tendency to control information flows?
That's an interesting one. And I think there's a balance between in the art, it's an art of control or governance. So it's the same thing applied to technology. So in terms of the information flow and the control between the permission and the permissionless blockchain. So I think there are, my instant reflection is just like, as the relationship between democracy, freedom, and the rules of laws and discipline. So how we enforce a certain rule to the society while giving a certain liberty and a freedom for let individual in a society to grow, it's an ultimate debate throughout human history and civilization. So there's no exception for this information of blockchain and the era of digital economy. So there's always pros and cons to debate about privacy, individual liberty versus control and saurveillance. So the more we get into the digitized economy, including with the utilizing of blockchain, Renzo, you probably mentioned earlier during your sections about how do we balance the privacy issue versus security. So this is the ultimate test for any government across the nation, across the different political system. So I'll say this: there will not be a perfect answer, regardless for China or for the Western society, U.S. or European countries. I mean, it's always a dynamic situation. It's a fluid situation, and try to find out the perfect balance in between. In terms of technology, there will be certain applications of functionalities to develop on either side of it, control versus freedom. So just like the decentralization of the blockchain versus later on blockchain will develop more from a public framework into a more private framework. So there's always balance in between. Okay.
Yeah, well, and I would like to add that I play a little bit the devil's advocate in saying, you know, how can we be sure that in China, Big Brother will not actually be able to tamper into a blockchain system and being able to actually, modify or change even something that supposedly is unchangeable, that cannot be manipulated, cannot be changed. So I think the question and the question mark still lingers there, and in some way also answers one of the previous questions about why blockchain technologies has not picked up at the level that it could. I think that there is still a sort of a cloud of skepticism lingering around about how safe all this information is, and how they in fact will not be able to be tampered by whatever. But from my perception, I tend to agree with your assessment, which is a bit, China is a bit putting feet on two sides, and trying to balance this between a very centralistic, very authoritarian government on one side, and trying to open up and trying to modernize its society, knowing that modernizing society means that you're opening up information, internet, data, the data flow. So it's difficult to curb all this development and all these pushes for modernization. So I think it's going to be an interesting evolution over the next years, especially considering that there is a clear indication from the government, from the central government, that they want to push the blockchain system. I think they want to use it in order to make sure to guarantee better security internally, probably within scope and within limits. We will see how this thing is going to develop over time. But clearly, it's an interesting point. In fact, the further response from the same person that asked the question was, it looks like we have a blockchain with the Chinese characteristics. And in fact, I think you, Eric, you have it. You right on the money with your comment. And as everything else in China, it is evolution, change, modernization with its Chinese characteristics. As we know, the sessions of the Chinese parliament is going to start from tomorrow, and then we're going to have the new 5-year plan being promoted and presented officially. And this is going to be, again, it's the new Chinese system with Chinese characteristics that is going to be paving the future development of the country. With this is the let's say the part that we tried to present the blockchain, its concept, its evolution, its applications, the kind of potential that this can have vis-a-vis China. From my point of view, there is a great potential in terms of especially commerce and trade between China and Europe. And in this respect, I would like to present the first case. And I would like to move on the first case, but I need to reprocess myself with the PPT. Sorry, but I messed it up. I cannot find it. Brian, could you take back the screen, please? Brian? Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, can you go on the first?
Yeah, this is the first one.
Okay, let me try now let's see if I can do this again. No, I simply cannot do it. So okay. I will ask you to
sure.
to do that for me.
Yeah, I'll do it for you.
Okay. So the first case is running on authenticity. So from authenticity to tokenization of artwork. So here, it's the interesting part is the possibility to. Could you go back to the PPT mode, please?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So go on. So can you click on the next one? So I'm introducing you to Leonardo, which is the concept is to have here a digitized artwork. Of course, in this case, Leonardo. Okay, stop there, Brian.
Okay.
So Leonardo is clearly a fictitious statute, but it can be any work of art. And in this case, Leonardo is, we want to bring Leonardo on the blockchain in order to make sure that we have the authenticity and that we can prove the authenticity of this artwork. The first thing we do is we digitize Leonardo. We take a 3D scan. We take all the characteristics, the ownership, the location, latest evaluation, all the other valuable information that are important to be put on the ledger. So then this ledger is uploaded on the block, and together with its hash and the timestamp. You remember from the beginning of my presentation that these are essential elements that must be included in the block. This being the first block is called the Genesis block. Out of curiosity, Genesis block is for any kind of blockchain system. I mean, Bitcoin had its Genesis block way back in 2009. And by now, as far as I understand it, we're running at about 700,000 blocks that have been added to the Genesis block in Bitcoin, which determines the height of the blockchain. So in this case, as we already understood, all this information is channeled to the nodes, and the nodes are interconnected. So this here is, of course, it's a theoretical case that I put, but the actual implementation of this process has been done. It has been done by a company, and I will let a short video run, which explains what this company is doing and what they have done and what it is doing. So Brian, can you please click forward and then, okay, and then click to let the video run.
I believe, Renzo, perhaps Brian needs to open his microphone for the audio, if there is any audio.
Need to open the microphone. Can we make the audio to be heard, or?
Can you hear it?
Yeah, I can hear you, but I cannot hear the audio.
Oh, you cannot hear the audio.
Brian, if I may, actually what you should do now is to stop sharing and then share again. But when you share again, you also have to click on share the audio, the sound of my computer.
Okay. So you want me to stop sharing first, right?
Yeah, exactly. And now click again on share.
Okay.
You click on the presentation, and before
I see.
Our artistic and cultural heritage
How
is
about now?
huge, as it's its value.
Yes.
Monitoring all artworks and archaeological finds requires a titanic effort,
Now you can hear it,
but
right?
it is necessary to preserve the treasures of mankind history. Checkups required many resources in terms of technical skills, time, and money. Our research has also revealed two main problems with condition reporting: a low-grade standardization and a high level of dependency from the experts that make it. That's why it would be useful to develop a scalable and effective solution to allow a wider activity of checkup and, thanks to the available technologies, to concentrate experts' attention on main problems. Brian Jane uses blockchain technologies to meet specific requirements of the art field, mainly related to the opportunity on authorizing some data and make them partially available in public. Our algorithm will normalize all UVIs through a quality score that will depend on a rating of the 3D image quality, certificates, and credential of the subject. For example, a higher score for a museum and a lower one for an unknown owner. Our AI-based algorithm will allow us to match the 3D images inside the platform, recognizing the possible fakes, or, in case of thefts, when recovered by the authorities, will permit to return the work of art to the owners in a short time. 3D scanning, blockchain, and artificial intelligence technologies create the basis to develop an objective condition reported to support the digitization, restoration, and maintenance processes of cultural heritage. Brian Jane.
Okay. Okay. Click to the next one. This, as you have seen, if you witnessed, is a system to authenticate an artwork, a piece of art. But I want to take you one step further. I want to move in from the authentication of the artwork into to the tokenization. Please, Brian, just move forward, please.
Okay.
Just move forward. Don't fiddle too much with that.
Okay. So
yes,
now this
is
yeah.
The next one.
Okay.
Click the next one. Click again. Okay, here we are.
Okay.
So in this case, please click one more time.
Yeah.
So the Chinese are very fond of European artwork, and in this case, what we're trying to do is we take Leonardo and artwork added on the blockchain and generated the collection of real assets. And these real assets are given an economic value, and then the economic value of the assets is securitized and converted into art tokens. The next step then move one more time. Then art tokens are placed on new public permission blockchain and traded within the permission nodes utilizing smart contracts. Every node will have continued tracking of the value of the assets and the physical condition of the assets. So as you can see from this simulation, what we're moving from the asset that has been monitored and has been included all the data and authenticated. Now we want to transform that real asset and become tradable. So we move from the real asset value into a tokenized value, and which token then can be traded online. Here, what you see on the cloud on the left is I put this non-fungible tokens, the NFT, which is a brand new interpretation. The non-fungible tokens are unique cryptocurrency tokens used to represent assets. And in this case, the asset is a digital work of art. NFTs can be bought and sold, but since they run on blockchain, ownership and validity of the asset that they represent can be tracked. So when an artist puts up for sale an NFT denominated artwork, the buyer would purchase a unique token that represents the asset and can then prove authenticity and ownership of the digital or real artwork through blockchain. What is as a side out of curiosity, let me put it this way, there is a phenomenon currently happening as we speak, as there is a very famous artist, a digital artist by the name of Mike Winkelmann. He's also known as Beeple. And he has been producing digital artwork on computer, of course, for several years now. What is happening is that his latest work of art, titled Every Day's the First 5,000 Days, is being auctioned at Christie's. And Christie's is running this auction as we speak, because the auction started on February 25th, and it will end on March 11th. So if any one of you is interested, you can Google or you can enter on Christie's website, and you can place your bet. I believe that I will not attend, because I suppose that this piece of art will run in about 6 digits, so, and could be running close to 200 to 300,000 euros for this work of art. And what is this work of art? It's basically, it's a collection of pictures that Beeple took over 14 years, over 5,000 days, which is almost 14 years. And for each, and he made a patchwork of all these pictures and produced this digitized work of art. So the auction is there, it is running, and it's going to be very interesting to see how it's going to end. So here in this first case study, we saw the one reality that is allowing to evaluate and to digitize a work of art. And I'm also going one step forward by promoting the possibility for this work of art to be traded, because why I make the comment here on the top right side is because I feel that the Chinese are very fond of European artwork, and they would be probably considering to buy some piece of art, as long as they know that it is authentic, that there are buying no fakes. So the authentication part would be extremely important for any trade with any Chinese trader. The tokenization of it would make the trade more feasible and smoother, and most importantly, safer. So this is my part for the first case, and I leave to Brian to present it to you the second case. So Brian, I leave it to you now.
Okay, Renzo. Here I have a case in China involved the supply chain financing for auto industry. So this this platform of blockchain-based supply chain financing platform was originally created from a consortium of universities and private enterprises. And it's as the first blockchain-driven supply chain financing application for auto retail industry in China. We call this the BC Auto SCF, which is called the platform. The platform is designed to address those pain points existed in traditional supply chain finance, and propose the innovative blockchain design to reshape the business logic and to develop an efficient and reliable financing platform for SME in the auto retail industry to decrease the cost of financing and to speed up the cash flow. So currently, there are over 600 active enterprises using this platform to run their financing business. Up until October 2019, the platform provides services to 450 online and offline auto retailers, and 3 B2B asset exchange platforms, 9 fund providers, and 78 logistics service across 21 provinces in China. There are close to 3,300 financing transactions successfully completed on this platform, and the amount of financing is well over 500 million RMB. So for the auto industry, the participants in the supply chain, such as manufacturer, supplier, carrier, warehouse, terminal buyers, and funding providers, so they all sort of have limited peer-to-peer communication with regards to their own concerns in trading settings. So one of the biggest hurdle in information exchange is the trust. So in addition, there are high risk of tampering while involving in debt notes, contracts, warehouse receipts. Actually, in a centralized information environment, it is easy to tamper a record. Moreover, it is costly to perform efficient custody, especially difficult to verify authenticity of an invoice or a receivable. So this blockchain platform aims to ensure the trust among participants and reduce the financing costs for the auto retailer industry. The introducing of the blockchain technology with the leveraging of other technologies such as cloud computing and Internet of Things, the platform is really providing a wide array of functions, including logistic warehouse management, funding, credit, service management, purchase order management, and platform administration. So there are some key functionalities and benefits of this platform. So first of all, this platform is a permission-based, it's an enterprise blockchain based on Hyperledger Fabric. It is used as a foundation of trust mechanism, including distributed ledger, encrypted signature, validation, synchronization, and a block link storage and the private security. It also connects third-party services for its risk control, such as the Ant Credits, which is a subsidiary of the Ant Financial Group. It also implements the user interface based on web technology, including blockchain implementation, IoTs, BDS, which stands for Breach Detect System, and also Global Positioning System, GPS, and Radio Frequency Identification, RFID, and Image Recognition, IR. It also integrates various data sources, including ordering, purchasing, warehouse logistic, contract documents, and a prepayment invoice. It is capable of full custody of cash flow, information flow, logistic flow, and the business flow in every transaction. And it further combines them to form a time-stamped transaction records stored in the shared ledger. It brings fully transparent transactions details to all granted participants. So since it's a private blockchain, so each party has to be invited onto this network and given certain authorizations. So each participant in the platform could have significant benefit, such as reduced cost, accelerate a cash conversion, and also creating new income sources. And smart contracts are designed to automatically execute transactions of the collaterals, documents, funding ownerships among participants in this cash flow financing system that encode explicit rules for shifting the ownership from one another. So with the blockchain built-in trust mechanism, it is unnecessary for any third party, such as bank, to act as intermediary. Therefore, the transaction on this platform could be much faster and more economical as the time cost is the key factor for supply chain and logistic service industry. So this will conclude my first case in China, and I will hand it over to you for your next case, Renzo. You want me to switch back?
Okay.
You want me to
yes, please.
host
yes,
the PPT
please.
for you? Okay.
Yeah, please. For some reason, I have some technical difficulties.
No problem.
Okay, go to the next slide, please. Okay, here we go.
There you go.
So my case would be supply chain. Here is a typical food and beverage. Food and beverage supply chain is, as we know, supply chain, blockchain is also regarded as a trust connector between transacting parties. It can therefore be very beneficial in the supply chain process. It should be run with authorized identifiable partners, which should have different levels of visibility and accessibility of the contents in the blockchain. Depending on the accessibility level, each partner may only have access to a certain set of information. And so we are in essence building a private blockchain network with partners, interactions with the defined methods for customized accessibility of transactional data and the modes for accessing the blockchain network. In this case, I'm using IBM Food Trust. I don't know if you're already familiar with that, but IBM has developed quite an interesting blockchain system. Below, I put also the link you can connect to. This, the IBM Food Trust connects participants across the food supply through a permissioned, permanent, and shared record of food system data. So across the ecosystem of food producers, suppliers, and retailers and more, Food Trust is working with the industry leaders to make blockchain innovation uniquely valuable and efficient across many segments of the food industry. Here, as you can see, on the right side, I put the clock. We're starting from the producer, ending with the consumers, and in the supply chain of the trip of the coffee bean, it goes through many different steps. The co-ops that collect from the producers, sells it to the exporters give it to the shippers, the importers buy it, then the roasters have to roast the beans, gives it to distributors, retailers, finally to the consumers and to us, that we can finally enjoy a good cup of coffee. This whole process here, it's clearly building on blocks, and it is extremely important and it's valuable to have the concrete authentication that the source of that coffee bean that produces that coffee that we consume at the bar is in fact what it states it is. And through this, it gives a particular value, because why do we have to pay an Illy coffee 50% more than we pay perhaps a Lavazza basic brand? Does it have an explanation? Of course it has an explanation. And the explanation is exactly on this supply chain flow. And because the way that they search for the beans, the way that they go and look for the best quality, it's all there, and it should be put on a blockchain in order to guarantee the origin and the flow. So that's why we say from producer to customer, getting the full appreciation of what I'm paying for, it has a value. If you move to the next one, Brian, do me a favor.
Sure. Yeah.
And in this supply chain could be a similar structure of the coffee bean we can find is applicable for wine, for the olive oil, for the crops, or any other product which may gain value by recording and tracking the history of its production line and digitize it on barcoded labels. I mean, wine is the most obvious case of tampering, manipulation, cheating, you name it. You can use whatever word on the dictionary in order to describe what is happening, has been happening, is continuously happening. Blockchain could really bring a big advantage. And in fact, in the utilization of the supply chain, of blockchain utilization, it is, we have already several cases of companies or institutions that are providing for this kind of technology to track the origins of the wine. On the list here on the left corner, I put some links you can check, just because there are so many different applications that would be too much for me to go through each one of the cases. But olive oil is the same story. Why do we pay certain extra virgin olive oil 100 while another one which still says exactly the same thing, but we pay 50? There is a logic, there is a reason, and this is all in the flow, in all the steps of the blockchain, from the source to the actual consumer at the end. Here I also say, why is this so important? I find it so important, the trade between Europe and China, because the food and beverage has been the most traditional trade area that has connected Europe to China. And there is a lot of flow of these produce that come in every time they come into China. Chinese are looking for guarantees of origin and are ready to pay premium price for it. This is a key element. The Chinese, especially the more wealthy ones, they want to make sure that what they're buying is what it is, what it's written. And the blockchain technology could give them this certificate of origin, which goes beyond the simple stamp or the simple label that says coming from, guaranteed, and this and that. But in the end, the guarantee, if I can put it on a barcode, and you can analyze it, you can trace back that particular single bottle, not just the brand, just that particular bottle from the source until the end, until there the shelf on the supermarket. It has a value. I also brought the case of the Moutai phenomenon. I don't know how many of you are accustomed to the Chinese liquor, but Moutai is the most famous and the most expensive Chinese hard liquor that is sold in China. It was brought to fame by Mao Zedong, and especially Zhou Enlai, the prime minister at the time of Mao, that were great estimateurs of the Moutai liquor. From that moment on, Moutai has become the liquor of preference for all the people that want to impress other people. This this also is the liquor that has having most counterfeits in China overall. And believe me, you can find more counterfeit Moutai bottles than the real ones today in the Chinese market. So that only to say that the Chinese is ready to pay a premium for the real thing, for the original, for the authentic product that they can buy. So it would be in the best interest to do also what also Brian in kind of way suggested during his last part of his presentation, make an effort, in my opinion, to try to see if there is a possibility to move in this direction, to make authentication of your products and sell them in such a way to the Chinese buyers, the wholesalers, or the end market buyers, giving the degree of authenticity that is coming from France, from Spain, from Italy, from Germany, and it has that particular value because it has gone through that particular process in the supply chain traction. So this is my part for the case number 3, and we have a case number 4 that I leave then to Brian to continue.
Thank you, Renzo. Here is another case in China involved with the trade financing, especially blockchain in the cross-border trade financing. In 2020, the Beijing-based China CITIC Bank, which is country's the 7th largest lender, has become the first domestic bank in mainland China to make use of the blockchain-powered cross-border letter of credit in RMB for a domestic firm. The bank make use of a blockchain platform called Contour to conduct the transaction in issuing an RMB import letter of credit for an importing company located in the Guangxi Autonomous Region in southern China for a total of 18 million US dollars. So the trade finance is a process whereby a financial institution grants a credit facility in order to ensure security over the transfer of goods. So in banking history, the letter of credits are typically issued in paper form as part of a process that takes several days. Currently, there are some shortcomings in the areas of trade finance. I would just name a few. First of all, it's delay of payments resulted from multiple financial intermediaries seeking to verify documentations. This process may be rather lengthy, and depending on number of intermediaries involved in the corresponding banking chain. And the next one is the manual customer due diligence must be conducted by financial institutions, including Know Your Customer, KYC review, and anti-money laundering, AML checks, and financial crime compliance evaluations, FCC. Also, duplicate documents can be presented to banks, which may result in processing the same transaction twice or more, and the difficulties in identifying whether any financial institutions has already underwritten a trade. So this, and the next one is tampering with the financial records may occur when the communication channels that is used is not authenticated or protected against an unauthorized access. As a consequence, records may be manipulated, duplicated, or falsified. So this Contour blockchain platform used by CEDEX in this particular case is a Corda-backed open industry platform, which is also a private enterprise blockchain in order to create, exchanging, approving, and issuing letter of credit. This Contour blockchain has an emphasis on data privacy by sharing transaction only on a need-to-know basis. So Contour blockchain is a network consortium of over 50 global banks and financial companies that provides financial and trade-related services only to the customers of the membrane banks. As an open platform, it allows other trade finance solution vendors to offer documents for trade solutions on the Contour Business Network, which increase scale and flexibility. Processing the documents for the letter of credits on the blockchain will help increase their working capital, improve their risk management, digitize the whole process, and ensure faster settlement. Import-export document can be accessed by all parties and can be reviewed and approved in real time. So as a result, eliminating errors and delays. So there are some key benefits of using this blockchain platform. First of all, is real-time access to trade documents. Ensure the shipment of goods is initiated in a shorter time frame, reducing time and cost of reducing time and cost of documentaries, as well as custom compliance. And the risk of duplicate documents, such as invoice and a bill of ladings, it will be eliminated. Enhance transparency, ensure compliance with KYC and AML, anti-money laundering policies and regulations, and also facilitate the network of banks, lawyers, and law enforcement officers. Transactions can be easily traced, facilitating audit process, This will minimize the fraudulent activity as transactions are recorded in a transparent and sequential manner. A detailed analysis of past transactions would assist in conducting a risk assessment for future trades. For security, transactions are individually verified through complex cryptography and to ensure there is an authenticity. And also collaboration is enhanced as transacting entities can share trade finance related data with one another. Also, autonomy is increased as the introduction of smart contracts removed any reliance on a correspondent bank and payment and transfer fees. So in the end, all of these initiatives opens particularly are interesting opportunities for SMEs, small medium enterprises, which often struggles to obtain trade financing because of lack of sufficient collaterals or poor or non-existent credit history. By giving financiers greater visibility into the supply chain cash flow and the credit history of company, the blockchain can facilitate KYC processes and also ease the SMEs access to affordable finance. So this will conclude my case. So Renzo, do you want to try a next one?
Okay, I think I gained already back the ownership of the presentation.
Great.
Yeah, this is the last case that we are presenting to you, and it's kind of a bit out of context, if you wish, because here it's a one whole country that basically went into a blockchain system, basically in the so-called E system. And it is Estonia, where E is the ubiquitous particle. And I must say that this has been quite an interesting case. So rather than putting up slides, I simply take you to the web page. And this is the web page of the eestonia.com. You can go and click it yourself. Quite an interesting story behind this, because Estonia went through a pretty heavy cyber attack in 2007. Government, banks, some other institutions were hacked, and which caused severe damage to this country. What then they did, they moved on, and they really kicked into the e-system, and they built almost everything is based on in a digital form. They developed their own KSI, so-called KSI name of a blockchain, which is used in many other functions. As I'm scrolling down their website, you can see all the different areas that they have utilized. They have moved into an electronic-based system. It's the e-identity, the interoperability of services, security and safety, healthcare. The number of things that they have really done is amazing. Estonia, I remind everyone, it's a country of 1.3 million people. So we're not talking about a large country. It's about similar to Slovenia for that matter, but extremely efficient, extremely dynamic. They went into e-governance, mobility services, business and finance, education and research. As you scroll this in on each one of these whatever, you can click and you go into more explanation of what they are doing and how they are organized. Of this, out of really of sheer curiosity, and I found to be very interesting, I picked the data embassy. The data embassy is really a revolutionary concept. And we can read together from the website. It's an extension in the cloud of the Estonian government, which means that the state owns a server resources outside its territorial boundaries. This is an innovative concept for handling state information, since states usually store information within their physical boundaries. So data embassy resources are under Estonian state control, secured against the cyber attacks or crisis situations with the KSI blockchain technology, and are capable of not only providing data backups, but also operating the most critical services. What they have done here, they have come to an agreement with the country of Luxembourg, where they have a tier 4 level security. The highest level of data facilities are in there. So it is an extremely, extremely interesting thing. And they're actually doing this, they have the rights of a physical embassy, such as the immunity. And this is all related to this storage that has been put under the Luxembourg government, which and they have registered this basically as a secondary embassy of the Estonian government. So quite an interesting case, I would say. It has been interesting to see how this thing has developed, and how the opportunities are always there in order to come up with the different situations and the different conditions. So at this point, I would be really basically finished with my presentation. And in conclusion to our presentation, and then I will hand it back over to Laura for some closer remarks and some Q&A if we still have a bit of time. Although I'm seeing that we are pretty much burning all this 3 hours that were allocated to us. But my final comment about the blockchain technology, it is a revolutionary technique. It is the internet of the future, if you want, in terms of the phenomenon that it's creating. And it is crossing boundaries. It's giving opportunities to different countries that maybe before they didn't have. It is connecting people in a more clean and a more transparent way. It is also avoiding to have counterfeiting, avoiding to have illegal utilization of assets. So it is something that it's going to be doing good for society, good for the financial systems, and good for governments altogether. And I also see that the trade potential between China and Europe, it can be enhanced by the evolution of the blockchain system brought into all the different facets of trade and technology. So I think that the supply chain examples could identify potential applications using some kind of currency, which may be a Chinese type, let's say, of trading currency, a renminbi, a digitized renminbi that could be utilized for smart contracts linked to blockchain connectivities. So I really see that the potential for future development of the technology and giving great support for the further development of the trade between Europe and China is going to be great advantage. So I think that here we are with from my side as a director of the EU SME Centre. I'm very happy to have been able to be together with you to share with you some of the information, together with Brian, who is more technologically advanced than I am. And I think that age has something to do with that. But I really do appreciate the opportunity. And at this point, Laura, if you are there, I give it back to you. And maybe Brian, if you want to say a few words before we close, I'll leave it to you also for some final remarks.
Sure, thank you, Renzo. I totally agree with your comments regarding the blockchain and its potential application, because I see this technology is another fundamental tool to help actually to advance our civilization in a way, because it provides our certain discipline and guidelines in terms of whether how we conduct ourselves in a more civilized or social disciplined way, and with more transparency, and also into how we interact with each other in a decentralized or more transparent way. And also it will affect the governance for many countries, and in terms of regardless if it's politics or business, finance, economic action. I think this technology is definitely going to impact us with a deep impact on our society for a long time. And at the same time, I think this technology will also help to facilitate cross-border trade and cross-border exchanges of ideas and cultures. I think it's the technology. We would try to focus on the benefit of the technology. I think European community and in the China market, there's a lot of commonality and then deep culture interchange, intertwined with each other. And I hope I can be of any assistant or contribute my limited capability into this process. And also thank you very much for inviting me to share some of this information with you. Thank you, Renzo, and thanks EU SMEs to give me this opportunity. Okay, that will be my closure.
Thank you. Laura, you want to pick it up from here?
Yes, indeed. First of all, I would like to thank you on behalf of the EU SME Centers team, and also on behalf of the audience for making the effort to prepare and to present this topic today. I am not a blockchain expert at all, but well, it was very useful for me to better understand and to have a more in-depth knowledge on the applications of this blockchain technology. And I'm sure that I'm not the only one among the audience that well has got a very nice learning today, thanks to you. For those that actually are still there, we would like to kindly ask you to complete the survey that you will be receiving, or you will be notified once the webinar is finished. This is very important for us because apart from, of course, asking your opinion about the topic and about our experts, it will help us to understand which are the topics of your interests, or what would you like us, the EU SME Center, to focus on in the upcoming events, or perhaps, of course, even in the upcoming work we are going to be doing in regards to our market reports, etc. So we would like to ask you to spend 5 more minutes with us for that purpose. And well, as mentioned before, we are going to be publishing this recording shortly on our website, on our YouTube channel, sorry. So if somebody missed it, or if you want to share it with somebody because you think it might be useful for them, please feel free to do so. And last but not least, I would also like to thank the Belgian-Chinese Chamber of Commerce as our partner in this for their support as well. And well, looking forward to see you in our upcoming events.